Your computer is making you crazy, and so is the service call.
I started screaming at him.
How do you know if you're getting a fair deal on repairs?
If your experience is like ours, your odds may not be very good.
We took our Dateline cameras undercover to see what goes on when there are computer problems under the hood.
We can get it for $627.
That's kind of high.
Are the prices right or a ripoff?
So when
Lee Thompson with the latest in a Dateline hidden camera investigation. From our studios in New York, here is Stone Phillips.
Good evening. You sit down at the computer, click on the mouse, and nothing happens. It's the moment we all dread in this digital day and age. But if you take your computer in for repair, how do you know you're getting the right diagnosis or the cheapest fix? 3 years ago, Chief Consumer Correspondent Lee Thompson asked those questions and got some troubling answers. Well, tonight she's back undercover, this time with the editors of PC World magazine for the latest in a Dateline hidden camera investigation.
For many Americans, it's become an indispensable home appliance, just like the coffee maker or the microwave. By some estimates, more than half of American households now own a personal computer. Increasingly, we depend on them to do everything from telecommuting to buying groceries online. But few of us have any idea of what actually goes on inside our machines. So if your PC crashed, would you know if you're paying the right price for the right repair?
The hard drive is bad.
Okay.
And the AC adapter should be replaced.
Okay. That repair would cost hundreds of dollars. But this company is about to be charged with fraud because the customer is really an undercover investigator from the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs. And the only thing wrong with this laptop is a minor software glitch that could easily be fixed in seconds. It was 3 years ago that Dateline first broadcast this tape, showing you how some computer stores were ripping consumers off. Consumers like writer Melanie Thernstrom, who says that same store threatened to wreck her laptop when she balked at an $1,100 repair bill.
And I heard him say, I have a mind to erase her damn hard disk, and then we'll have the only copy of her precious data. And I started screaming at him, I can't believe you said that.
Because her book manuscript was on her hard drive, Melanie paid the bill. But she says when she finally got her computer back, it was completely fried.
You're convinced that they tampered with your computer?
Oh, they positively tampered with my computer.
New York City did allege the company committed fraud. While admitting no wrongdoing, the store did pay $12,000 in fines and restitution to customers, including Melanie Thernstrom. But Dateline found it wasn't just dishonest repairmen that consumers had to worry about. Back then, with our own hidden cameras, we showed you how, time and again, well-meaning technicians misdiagnosed minor repair problems as costly and difficult fixes.
How much was it going to cost to fix again?
$800 to $900.
If I could pull it out, I would. I'm not going to pull it out and crack your board, though.
It's a low-level format, which is something the factory does.
In Dateline's investigation, almost 40% of machines we took in for minor repairs were not fixed properly.
Have things changed in 3 years? That's an eon in computer time. Today's systems with DVD drives, DSL lines, CD burners, and 3D graphics are more complex than ever. And now many families can't live without them. So when the editors of PC World invited Dateline on their multi-state investigation of computer repair, we were happy to join them.
The graphics controller is fine, the floppy disk is
PC
fine.
World magazine purchased 18 identical used computers and ran them through a battery of sophisticated diagnostic programs to make sure all worked properly.
CPU is fine.
A PC World technician removes a ribbon cable from each machine, purposefully damages it, and then reinstalls it. The cable connects the motherboard, the brains of the computer, to the hard drive. That's where all the computer's files are stored. With a bad cable, the computer doesn't run. A repairman might at first conclude that the hard drive or the motherboard isn't working, but replacing either of those expensive components is unnecessary. The right fix? a new cable for about $5 plus labor. PC World testers then took the disabled computers to the 3 largest national chain stores and local repair shops in 6 states.
How does this compare?
Editors Harry McCracken and Anush Yagasarian led the team.
What are your odds of getting your computer fixed at the right price?
Well, if your experience is like ours, your odds may not be very good.
Instead of identifying the bad cable, this small store in Rhode Island charged PC World almost $360 to replace the motherboard.
Okay, so $359.55.
What's the full total?
Okay.
The store's owner told Dateline she believes the motherboard was broken, and because the old board is gone, no one can prove otherwise. But PC World said it tested the board before it went into the shop, and that the odds of it breaking on the way were very unlikely. At this New Jersey company, the news was even worse. It estimated it would cost $400 to fix the computer because something was wrong with both the motherboard and the hard drive.
The hard drive itself is physically corrupted and it does have a bad system board.
But watch as the PC World technician, simply by replacing the cable, is able to get the machine up and running.
We know the motherboard was fine, the hard drive was fine. It was simple swapping the cable that solved the problem.
Both the New Jersey store and that Rhode Island store, however, told Dateline that PC World's test was unfair because those ribbon cables rarely go bad.
Was this test fair?
It absolutely was a fair test. It's not the most common problem that happens to computers, but it does happen.
Especially given that this is such an easy thing to check for if you think to do it.
It's unusual, but it's simple.
Brant Culkin, owner of PC Upgraders, a local store in Wilmington, North Carolina, made no excuses when he learned his shop had not checked the cable. The mistake cost PC World nearly $300 for a new motherboard and several other components.
But the board itself is bad, yeah.
You do the simple thing first, and it wasn't done. So it's extremely rare, but it's still inexcusable on our part.
So what about the national chains? Our first stop, Best Buy. This Rhode Island store found the bad cable and replaced it for $70. In Texas, $25. And here in California, Best Buy actually fixed the cable for free. A Best Buy technician in Denver, however, concluded the motherboard was the problem.
Did he say he checked the cable?
The technician told our reporter that he had checked the cable.
With 3 out of 4 right, however, Best Buy did fare better than in our story 3 years ago. In a letter, the company told Dateline it has implemented significant improvements in services for our customers in the past year, and that the results of this year's test indicate we have gained ground in our customer service and repair, but there is continued room for improvement. The next chain, CompUSA. It had a perfect score in our last story, and this year the first 3 CompUSA stores, including this one in Rhode Island, tested the cable and fixed the computer for a flat $100 fee.
I had that happen like 4 or 5 times, and it's like we've replaced a couple of parts, and we're like, okay, you know what, we'll change the cables this time, and it works.
But this New York City CompUSA was tripped up by the cable.
Basically, what you would have to do is, if you want to repair it, just get a new system for it.
And how much is that?
We can get it for $627.
That's kind of high.
Even the tech told PC World that was too much.
Like I told you, I wouldn't fix it. We sell computers that are like $500 and $600, and they're a lot more powerful.
In a letter to Dateline, CompUSA said it regretted that the technician's diagnosis turned out to be incorrect and said it has since updated its basic diagnostics checklist. Now all CompUSA technicians are told to not only check cables visually, but to retest machines with replacement cables. CompUSA assures Dateline that this update will ensure correct diagnosis in this situation in the future.
Overall, which company performed the worst?
Of the chains, it has to be Circuit City.
Yeah.
They didn't have a single real success story.
This Rhode Island Circuit City told PC World it had a bad hard drive that wasn't cost-effective to fix. And this Circuit City in Houston charged more than $200 for a new hard drive.
$13.95.
Is there any question in your mind that the Circuit City store in Houston sold you a hard drive that you didn't need?
No. We reinstalled the original drive. We got that part back from Circuit City.
Okay.
and it worked.
What's worse, by replacing the computer's hard drive, Circuit City removed all the data from the machine.
Our data was completely gone.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's a nightmare.
And completely unnecessary.
I mean, your data is the single most important part of your PC.
Circuit City declined Dateline's request for an on-camera interview, but off-camera it said that its technicians in Rhode Island and Houston overdiagnosed a non-standard repair problem and said it is working to prevent this from happening in the future. At the same time, however, Circuit City applauded its Houston store, the one that sold PC World a hard drive it didn't need and returned the computer with no data, for accommodating the customer by getting the computer up and running.
Circuit City says that it gave you a computer that was up and running. It's applauding itself for giving you a working system.
Well, it turned on.
You're suggesting that Circuit City should not be patting itself on the back.
Not for this particular repair. It's, they returned a computer that turned on and found its hard disk, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was ready to work.
In all, PC World sent out 18 computers for repairs and says 11 were not fixed properly. That's worse than what Dateline found 3 years ago. And though the PC World editors sampled just a small number of repair stores around the country, they believe it's not good news for the millions of Americans who've come to rely on their home computers.
When you walk into a store, you don't know what's going to be wrong. And the difference between changing a $5 part and changing a $300, $400, $500 part is a big one.
A point hardly lost on Brant Colkin, the owner of that North Carolina store that mistook a quick fix for a $300 repair.
People don't have a lot of extra money that they can spend on things they don't need. And so we would rather have replaced his cable and done his labor and then let him go.
How can you protect yourself? Well, first, and you've heard this before, back up your data. Get a second opinion before any repairs or scrapping your computer. And if you do make repairs, ask for the parts back. You can learn more on our website and join us for a special online chat with the editors of PC World. It's tomorrow evening at 5 Eastern Time. Our address is dateline.msnbc.com.